All right. We are doing Parshas Achrei for a second time. This time we'll get it right. As on Shabbos, we did not read from the Torah portion of the weekly Torah portion. We read from the holiday portion. So that means we repeat it. Okay, let's get right into it. So it'll sound somewhat familiar. Yidaber Hashem al Moshe. Hashem spoke to Moshe Achrei after Moshe Shnei Bnei Aaron, after the Mois, the death of Shnei, the two Bnei, children of Aharain Bikar Bosam, when they came close, when they came near Lifnei Hashem before God via Musa, and they died. So what is this telling us? We know this already, right? So it's not only is it a repetition because we're doing it a second week, but we've already learned this previously in Parshas Shmini. So what is this verse coming to tell us? Rashi, Hashem spoke to Moshe after the death of Aaron's two sons. Why is the Torah telling us this? So Rebbe Elazar, the son of Azariah, he would explain it with a parable. Compared to a sick person, that a doctor entered to treat him. And the doctor said to the sick person, and don't eat cold food, and don't lie in a damp, chilly place. That's what he told him, right? Yeah. Then came another doctor, and said to him, and don't eat cold food, and don't lie in a damn chilly place. You should not die. Just as so and so died. The second doctor roused him to follow the instructions more than the first. That's why it says after the death of Aaron, his two sons. And that's why in this week's parsha it says Hashem spoke to Moshe, speak to Aaron your brother that he shouldn't come into the Holy of Holies, that he should not die, as his sons died. Okay, so it's just to kind of, you can, give them the book, give them the other book there. You can follow in the book, okay. It's the same parsha from last week, the beginning of Achrei. We just did the first verse. Okay, and Hashem spoke to Moshe, Daber al Aaron, speak to Aaron, your brother, al Yov, he should not come at any time, Ela Kodesh, into the holies. From within, from the house, let the be in. Lapareches, to the curtain, el pnei al kapeiris, onto the face of the cover, meaning in the front of the cover, asher ala which is the cover on the ark. V'lo yamus, he will not die. Because in the cloud I will be seen, ala kapeiris, upon the ark of the covering of the ark, right? Rashi, in verse number 2, Lo yamus, and you will not die, she'im ba, but if you will come into the Holy of Holies when you're not allowed to, humes, you will die. Because in the cloud I appear. What does that mean? Because I'm always appear there, with my pillar of cloud. Because my divine presence is revealed there. Therefore, you should take care. You should not accustom yourself to regularly go there. That's a simple meaning. But the sages, they interpreted it, al yovai, don't come, except for the cloud of incense, which he is to offer up there, b'yom kippurim, on Yom Kippur. That's how you come. In other words, you come in a cloud, right? Because you're going to bring the incense, and it's going to create a cloud, right? Because that's what we're speaking about now. We're going into the service of Yom Kippur. With this, Aaron shall come into the holies with a par ben bakar, a young bull, Lachatos for a sin offering, but ayala and a ram for a burnt offering. Rashi bezois. What does it mean with this? Gematria shalai. What is the numeric value of the gematria of the zois? Arba meos veser 410. Rem is a Bais Risha, and this is an allusion to the first holy temple that stood for 410. In other words, this you're going to come into the Holy of Holies.
Wait, sorry to go back to the other verse, but there's two clouds. There's an incense cloud, that was one understanding of it, and then the other understanding was the cloud that indicates Hashem's presence.
Right.
Okay.
Which I think they're kind of mutually inclusive
Okay.
of, I mean, one that he brought, that he created, right, which is also the divine presence, but there was one that was there besides that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, next Rashi in 3. With this Aaron shall come, and even this should not be at all time, right? Except for Yom Kippur, as will be stated explicitly b'Sefer Parsha at the end of this portion, right? We're in verse number 3, and that's only going to be later on in verse 29, right? That we're going to go through the entire divine service, and only in verse 29 it's going to be revealed to us that it's about Yom Kippur. Rashi's letting us know that's the fact. It's going to say then 7th month and 10th day. Verse number 4. B'ksain is bad. How should he go? He shall enter there. B'ksain is bad with linen, with a linen shirt. Kodesh, it's holy. Yilbash, he shall dress. Umichnes bad, and he shall also wear linen pants. Yiu al b'sara, they should be on his flesh. Uba'avnei bad, and with linen sash. Yach, or he shall gird himself, he shall wear. Mitznef is bad, and with a cap that's also made from linen. Yitznif he should wear. Big day kodesh, holy clothing. Haim, they are. And he should wash himself in water. Es b'sarav levesham, and meaning his flesh. He should go to the mikvah, and he should wear them. Okay, let's see Rashi in verse number 4. Saying is bad. He shall wear a sacred linen of a kitsonis. Magi, this tells us that when he goes serves in the Holy of Holies, but Gadim, he doesn't serve with the 8 garments, because we know from the Kohen Gadol Parshas Tetzaveh, he uniquely wears 8 garments, where a regular Kohen only wears 4. That's how he serves outside of the Holy of Holies. Why doesn't he serve in the Holy of Holies with gold? Because they have gold. And the prosecutor does not become the defense attorney, but only with the 4 garments, like a regular kohen, and they're all made from linen, right? Because it was made from gold, the other 4 garments, and he's going there to bring atonement for the sin of the golden calf. So the gold will not come to be the defense attorney over the prosecutor, right? The gold is what was the prosecutor, is a prosecution against the gold, the golden calf. So the gold will now serve as a defense attorney for them. Kodesh Yilbash, a sacred garment he shall wear. Meaning, it's got to belong to Hektish, property of Hektish. It's not his property, in other words. Yitznaif, he shall cover. Kitargumay, Zunkulis explains, Yasis Vereshe, Yaniach Vereshe, he shall place it on his head. In other words, it's a cap on his head. Etana Big Day, just as Etana he should put on the garment. I have to say, he shall immerse himself in water. That day. He goes to the mikvah before that day, but this is speaking on the day. He needs immersion. So every time he changes his clothing, that's 5 times. He would change his clothing when he would go from the service of the inside, from performing parts of the service that were done only in the Holy of Holies, to serve on the outside of him, and from the outside, then he would go into the inside. And each time he would change. Big days off from his gold garments that he used to perform outside of the Holy of Holies. The big day lavam to the garments, the white linen garments that he used to serve in the Holy of Holies. And the big day lavan, and all likewise from the garments of the white back the big days off to the garments of gold. Of a whole khalifa, and each time he would change. Either way, right? Gold to white, white to gold. He needs each time to go to the mikvah. Ton tefillah, he requires immersion, and also sanctifying his hands and his feet, minakiyar, from the wash basin. Verse number 5. Adas ben Israel. So he had to go and bring in the young bull and a ram for himself, right? Oh, now Ace Adas ben Israel, and from the congregation of the children of Israel, Yikach, he shall also take Shnei Seirim. He takes 2 he goats. He's the chatos for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. Now he's going back in verse number 6, and Aaron shall bring an offering of the young bull of a sin offering, a shaloi that is his, that he brings atonement for himself and for his household. Rashi number 6. That's what we mentioned previously in verse number 3. This is verse number 6. We're going back to verse number 3. This teaches us over here. What is it coming to tell us? We already said this. But it says, Asher loy, that's his, meaning has to belong to him. The clothing that he's wearing belongs to Hektish, belongs to the sanctuary, right? They buy him the clothing. But when it comes to this bull that is bringing atonement, has to belong to him. It has to come from his money. And not public funds, but not...
If he cannot afford it, if he cannot pay for it.
It has to come from him. You have to afford it. Finished. Okay, whatever that is, that
I'm asking before.
Doesn't matter. It has to be from his funds. Period. That doesn't mean money can't be given to him. It has to be his funds, right? Not from the public funds. And atone for himself and for his household. Mizvade Allah. What does it mean? That he's atoning? He has to confess over it. Of his sins, and the sins of his household. Meaning for all the Kohanim, as we will learn. Verse number 7. And then he takes 2 he goats. And he places it before Hashem before the entrance of the tent of meeting. And also, this is now something different. This is about the 2 goats, one that's going to Azazel, we're going to learn, and one's going to be slaughtered, right? And he shall place lots for the 2 he goats. One is for Hashem, and the other is for Azazel. Rashi explains how does this process work in number 8. Aaron place lots for the 2 he goats. He places one to the right of him, one to the left of him. And he puts his 2 hands into a lottery box. And he takes a lottery in his right hand, and the other one in his left hand. And then he puts it on the goats. And it's a cause of Hashem, and the one that says to Hashem, Hashem, that will be for Hashem, will be slaughtered and put on the altar. There's a cause of Lazazel, and the one that says Lazazel, right? Well, Mishtalech Lazazel will be sent to the desert, to the Azazel, right? Yeah. Azazel, Rashi, what is that word? It's an unusual term. Har Oz Bikosha. It is an austere and harsh mountain. Tzaik Gavaya, it has a high cliff. Shenemar Eretz Gezerah, that is a cut off land, Chasucha. Verse number 9. Yeah, we're all good? Following?
But the word isn't per here for lot. There's a different word for lot.
Gurel. Gurel is lot. Azazel is not. That's a different word, right? That's where it's going. So, you shall make it for, number 9, the verse says, and Aaron will bring near as an offering, it's a sira shira Allah love to the he goat that fell upon it, Hagerel, the lottery la Hashem. So chatas, and he will make it into a sin offering. Rashi, so chatas, what does it mean he's making a chatas? He calls out and declares, he says, La Hashem chatas. That's what makes it into a chatas, by the fact that he declares it as such. Verse number 10. Right, otherwise it's repetitive because we already said that. We already said that the one that is, right? So it means to say in this verse that he's pronouncing it and therefore makes it as such.
Him putting
Verse
a lot on it doesn't make it that way.
He has to and pronounce it exactly. And the he-goat that fell upon it, the lottery to Azazel, Yamid Chai, Yamid Chai will be stand alive, Lifnei Hashem, before Hashem, L'chaper Olav, to bring atonement upon it, L'shalei Achrei, so to send it, L'Azazel Midbara, to the Azazel in the desert. Okay, what does it mean, Yamid Chai? What does it mean to stand alive? Right? Shall be stood alive, Rashi. Yomad Chai means that he shall be made to stand alive. Al Yidei Achirim, by others, the goat shall be placed. Ketargumai, as Uncles renders it in B'Yitakam Padchai, that he shall be made to stand while alive. Why does the Torah have to tell us this? Well, obviously, it's not being slaughtered. Because that I'm sending it to Azazel, I don't know. Is it being sent to death or is it being sent to life? It's not, because the Torah doesn't tell us, right? But the fact that it says that it's standing now alive means in the end it's not going to be alive. So it's not going for life; it's going for death, right? That's the exactingness of the term. That's why it's Yamad Chai, that it should be still alive, implying that while it's standing at that moment alive, until it's sent away. From here we learn that it's being sent away for death. Love to atone upon it. She's means that he has to confess upon it. That's written in Zvada Allah. Number 11. So that was the one to send away. Now he's going back to his par, to his young bullock, that is a sin offering, that is his. So they will bring atonement for him and his household. Now he's slaughtering it as a par. This young bullock, that is his. Rashi, we already said this, right? That it's bringing atonement for himself. So Rashi says it's a second time he's doing confession. He did a first confession. Now this is a second confession, additional one to what was in verse number 6. Olav upon it, over the sins, and over his brothers of Kohanim, the sins of other Kohanim, Shehem, Kulam Kurim, they said, because all of them are called his household. In other words, because they're his brothers in the fact that they are part of his household. Shenemar, as it says, Beis Ha'arein, Baruch Hashem, we just said, where did we just say that? In Hallel, we just finished davening, right? It says, Beis Ha'arein, Baruch Hashem. We come from here, we learn that the Kohanim gain atonement for the sin offering of the Kohen Gadol, al kaparosan, for their entire atonement, the entire atonement gained by the Kohanim through the sin offering of the Kohen Gadol, in illa ultim, it's mikdash kadoshav. So what is it? What are they coming to atone? It's coming to atone for impurity of the sanctuary and the holies. And he brings atonement upon the sanctuary for the impurities. In other words, for impurities that are related to the holy temple, meaning coming in there that you're impure, or you brought something that was impure, right? So therefore, all the Kohanim are getting atonement for that. Verse number 12. And he shall take now a pan full of burning coals from upon the altar. That's before God, the altar. And he shall take both hands full of fine incense and bring it within the dividing curtain. So what we just finished about the atonement for him and the Kohanim. Now he's bringing into the Holy of Holies, right? To Rashi in 12. So he's taking fire from the outer altar, right? Milifnei Hashem, that's before Hashem, Mitzad Lifnei Pesach. That is the Mizbeach that faces the entrance of the Beis Hamikdash. Oh, it's Adam Aravin, that's on the west side. Right? Daka, finely ground incense. Daka, why does it say finely ground? Isn't all of the incense finely ground? Shenemar, as we have already learned this in the book of Exodus. We learned there in Pashas. I think it was Tetzaveh. So you shall finally grind it. It says there already. We learned that there was a mitzvah Ella. So why does the Torah come and teach us this? Then now when on Yom Kippur, it has to be fine of the fine. You have to refine it. The incense. Be'erev Yom Kippurim, on the eve of Yom Kippur, that you return to the Mafteshes, the mortar, and regrounded that it should be fine of fine. There's fine and there's finer. No, this is even finer. Okay, 13. 13. No son, and he shall place the secretary Hashem, the incense, this of fire should be put before Hashem. The chisa is on haketeris, so that the cloud of the incense will cover al kaperis, will cover the kaperis, the covering. Asher al edus. No, kaperis is the covering on the edus, on the testimony. Below yamus, and he will not die. Rashi, right? Meaning where the Ark of the Covenant, right? Al ha'esh, upon the fire, that's on the fire pan. That's the right. Remember, he's entering now. He took fire from the outer altar. He put it on the incense. He created a fire. Yeah. That fire now he's going into and creating a cloud that's going to cover the Ark of the Covenant, the covering of the Ark of the Covenant, right? That's what he's saying. But he won't die as a result. But if he didn't do so, as you are supposed to, he would be subject to the death penalty from heaven, right? Not from court on earth, but on heaven. That's why. So he created this now all-encompassing cloud, right? Now he takes from the blood of the bullock, and he sprinkles with his finger on the top of the kapiris, which is the cover, kedma, to the eastern side, lifnei kapiris, in front of the ark, the covering of the ark, 7 times, from his finger, he sprinkles 7 times. So it's 2 different things over here, Rashi is going to say. That's one sprinkling is what it means over here, with the index finger that he sprinkles. Then there's 7 once above and 7 times below. Okay, that's a second sprinkling. The shachar is a seir. Now he goes and he slaughters the goat. That is a sin offering for the people, right? For the nation. Baby is down. Now he's going to bring its blood. From the inside to the pareches to that is the covering. That is the curtain now, right? Before that was towards the ark. Now it's towards the curtain. Also is damai kasher asol ledama par, and he shall do with his blood as he did with the blood of the par. That he should sprinkle it on the ark cover and before the ark cover. Rashi asher la'ama hapar shemechaper al kohanim. Just as the young bull is bringing atonement for the Kohanim, the he-goat is bringing atonement for the Jewish people. And that is the one that's not going Lazazel, but the one that got the lottery that it said for Hashem. Kasher also is Adam, one's above and 7 below.
So the offering of the Jewish people that he's doing on behalf of the Jewish people, the blood from that offering is going closer into the Holy of Holies than the offering that he did for himself at the Kohanim.
No, they're both in the same.
Oh, they're both in the same?
Yeah. Within the dividing curtain, so he's doing it Within the Holy of Holies. It's within the dividing curtain.
So they're
Correct.
both equally close to the.
Yeah. The Chipe al Kodesh, and it will affect atonement for the holies. Mitumat b'nei Israel, from the impurities of the Jewish people, from their willful sins, rebellious sins, for all of their unintentional sins. And so he will do for the Oyel Maya, the tent of meeting, a Sheichen Itam that dwells with them, meaning God dwelling there with them, amidst their defilement. Let's see Rashi. Interesting. Asher la'am ma'apar mechaper. 1 second. Sorry. 16. Metumas b'nei Yisrael, from the impurity of the Jewish people. Ala nichnas hamikdash. What does that mean? Someone who entered in the base of Mikdash, betumah, in the state of impurity, right? An Israelite was coming for the holidays, right? Pesach, or they were coming to bring an offering anytime. They have to come pure, or eat the Meiser Sheni, the second tithes that are meant to be brought up to Jerusalem, right? You have to be in a state of purity. What if they came and they were impure? So this offering is atoning for it. Okay. But they were unaware. Shenemar, because this is among all your sins. Chata is a sin. Shushaygi was unintentional. The word chata, chait, is a sin offering, but it's an unintentional one. Korban chatas can only be for unintentional sin.
Yeah.
Right? The word chatas means sin, but it means unintentional sin. Right? But now, mipishehem, willful sins. Also unintentional, that you did it intentionally is also coming. But the word chatas means unintentional. Therefore, it adds the verse. In the verse, it added here even intentional sins also. That's a chiddush over here.
Rabbi, in ancient Persian, chatat is also unintentional sin.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, look at that.
Wow.
So you shall do for the tent of meeting, just as you sprinkle the blood of both the bull and the he-goat, within the inside of the Holy of Holies, one above, and 7 below. Right, as we learn, likewise you sprinkle on the parechim, outside facing the sanctuary, and not in the holy house of Mishnayim, from the blood of the bull and the he-goat, So, and others, he added something over here. Okay. Till now, we knew that he did it inside. Inside of what? Inside of what, though? No. Inside of what? The curtain. Because the curtain's dividing. So there's outside the curtain, inside the curtain. But we had previous verse that said inside the curtain. So that means it was in the Holy of Holies. You did 1 above and 7 below, right? But this verse now also says, also you shall do in the Oyel Moyed. Oyel Moyed means the entire tent of meeting. Doesn't mean inside the Holy of Holies. So it means outside of the curtain. Okay. So why is it saying also you shall do? Also you should do 1 above and 7 below. Outside, from the same blood. So you did it inside the Holy of Holies and outside the Holy of Holies. That's what this part of the verse is coming to add.
So inside the curtains and outside the curtains. Yeah.
That he dwells with them in their impurities. Even though they are impure, the Shekhinah still rests amongst the Jewish people.
Right? So he's doing 2 different offerings. One.
No, it's the same blood.
It's the same blood, but one is for intentional sins and one is for.
No, I don't think it made a distinction. Okay, I think it's the same. Spritzing is. It didn't seem to me. Last, also, and any person will be in the tent of meeting, who's coming for atonement in the holies, until he goes down, and he, the Aaron, is going to bring an atonement for himself, for all of his household. Who's his household? The rest of the Kohanim, exactly. And also the entire congregation of Israel. Because remember, he put the blood together. right? From the bull and from the he-goat. Bull is for
The Kohanim.
him and the Kohanim,
Yeah.
and the he-goat is for everyone. You put it together, spritz inside the Holy of Holies. One above, 7 below.
Yeah,
Then outside also towards the curtain,
yeah.
right? Same thing. And he brought atonement as a result for all. Psh. Wow.
Very efficient, Rabbi.